Vincent van Gogh, Monet, Magritte, Renoir. All of those artworks were held here at the Autopolis circuit in Japan. But that's not what we're here to look at. We're here to look at round 2 of the Super Formula Championship. This is Let's Go Racing. My name's Sam Collins, and I'm joined here live and uninterrupted by Leigh O'Gorman.
Hello, Sam, and hello, everyone else. As you can see, it's a bit of a damp but drying track here at Autopolis. It's the Japanese national anthem gets going. Very, very windy day.
Well, that was a nice moment. Slightly unusual race here at Autopolis. Because of heavy rain yesterday, qualifying was cancelled. They held it a bit earlier on today, and Leigh O'Gorman was watching.
Yes, it was definitely very, very interesting qualifying. Only a 40-minute shootout, not the kind of standard qualifying we're used to with Super Formula, because qualifying was cancelled yesterday. But even qualifying this morning, it was wet, it was windy, and there were 4 red flags during that qualifying session. And at the end of it, Yuji Kunimoto took pole position for Kondo Racing Toyota. That's an additional point for pole position for Yuji Kunimoto. Brings him level on points with Sho Suboi. Both of them are on 4 points now, equal 5th in the championship, as the mechanics begin to clear the grid.
Now, take us through the results of that qualifying. So we can do it together, actually, because there was one car that went missing in that qualifying session, and we'll talk about that because I can't see that car on the grid at the moment, but it may be in the pit lane still.
Yeah, we definitely only have 19 cars on the grid. As you can see, there's 10 cars lined up on the your left-hand side of the screen, and only 9 on the right-hand side of the screen. So we're waiting for getting information about who maybe started in last position, or at least from the pit lane. Now, the top 12 did set times within 107% rule for qualifying. And if you're not sure what that is, the pole position time was a 147.6. So the top 12 all set times within 107% of that time. Then it was Artem Markelov, Nohiri, Makino, Tinkton, Pelu, Yamamoto, Sekaguchi, and Hirakawa were all slower than that time, primarily because they only got a single run during qualifying, and therefore were not able to set ample time and good enough time to get within that allotted gap, as it were.
And they were allowed to start under what I like to call the Pedro Diniz rule, which means whilst they didn't get in with that 107%, their free practice times were good enough, so they've been allowed to start the race. Well, Yuji Kunimoto ended up on pole position, and he starts this race on the soft compound Yokohama tyre. Sho Suboi is alongside him in the Tsurumo Inging car. Then you've got and that's the all Toyota front row as well. Then you've got Niro Fukuzumi, first of the Hondas. He's starting on the mediums. Could be interesting to see how this tyre strategy plays out. Kazuki Nakajima alongside him, first of the two Toms cars. Lucas Awa, 5th position. Hiroki Ishiura in the Toyota powered car from the other Inging powered car in 6th position. 7th is Kenta Yamashita. Komiya Kobayashi starts in 8th in the Seoul KCMG Toyota powered car. Kudai Tsukakoshi, first time I've said that actually. He's stepping in from Tristan Carpentier, as I notice raindrops on the screen on this. I've always dry track. Everybody's starting the race on slick tyres, no intermediates here. We'll talk about the lack of Carpentier in the silver bullets later on, because alongside him is Nick Cassidy in the second Tom's car, 10th position. Oshima in Team Le Mans is 11th. Nojiri in 12th in Team Mugen car. Tadasuki Makino in the Nakajima Racing car, number 65, starts 13th. Dan Ticktum in the Red Bull livery Team Mugen car, 14th position. Alex Palou, who I tipped to win this race in the Honda-powered car, starts on medium tyres in 15th position. 16th for Yuki Sekaguchi, who you tipped to win this race on soft tyres with Toyota power, Team Impul. Now, interesting to see if they've changed the livery on that car. We haven't had a close look at that. Last last year's champion Naoki Yamamoto 17th, Hiro Hirakawa 18th, Harrison Newey, son of, in the BMAX Racing with Motor Park Honda powered car, starts on the medium tyres in 19th. And not seen on the grid is Artem Markelov, who is showing as sitting on medium tyres, but that's the default setting here. And I suspect Markelov will not take the start after having a fairly sizable shunt in this morning's session.
Yeah, it's a very, very short space of time between qualifying and the race today. It was only actually, qualifying was 8:45 Japanese time, so only, I think, the session finished 4.5 hours ago. So that's really, for any kind of huge accident, that's not really enough time to get all the work done in time, all the fixes necessary in time to actually to be ready for the race. It's not just about getting the car completely fixed up, but it's all the prep that comes with it as the cars begin to line up on the grid. Yeah,
there's no sign of him on pit lane at the moment that we can see, as the cameraman gets extremely excited by the prospect of round 2 of Super Formula and wobbles all over the place. But that is also possibly because it's quite windy.
Yeah, it's still very, very, very windy at Autopolis today. Now, as we mentioned, it was very wet today. There is rain expected for this afternoon. Quite conceivably, we may see a change of compound tyres in this race should the weather change once again. I see still damp patches. I'm not necessarily sure I'd actually be that brave on pole position.
Yeah, second position. So Suboy could take the lead off the start. Well, we'll find out in a minute as the chap with the yellow flag goes away. Getting ready to start this race, and we are about to start racing here at Autopolis. Round 2, the 2019 Super Formula season. The red lights are on, and now they're not. The race is underway. Does Show Suboy get away? Great start there. Someone left on the grid. That is... Oh, 2 cars left on the grid, actually. So that is a pretty terrible start for those guys. But looking up into the lead, Kunamoto held it from Show Suboy. Niro Fukuzumi there in 3rd position.
A relatively clean start as everyone bar those 2 cars gets away. No incidents, no accidents, no offs, and that in the first couple of corners, despite the conditions here. But you can see they're really struggling a little bit to get grip on this. Yeah, you know what, Sam, you're right. They're actually raindrops are really beginning to fall now. So the rain is actually coming a little bit earlier than even we thought it might. It's a yellow flag out. I did see.
That's for Harrison Newey. He got stuck on the grid, as we saw. The second car that got stuck was Ryo Hirakawa in the Team Impul car, but it looks like he's now got underway. And no sign of Artem Markelov. There is Harrison Newey. No, that's a car. I tell a lie. That was not Harrison Newey. That was Tomoki Najiri being pushed off the grid. The data we're getting in is a bit interrupted, and I could see that going to safety car already. The cars are battling, though, well around the front. Yuji Kunamoto and Shei Suboy still fighting it out for the lead. But for 3rd position, it's anybody's game.
They haven't pulled away decisively yet. There's still only maybe a second and a half ahead of 3rd place. But a very, very good opening lap. The first of 54 here at Autopolis is 250-kilometre race.
Well, with 3 cars missing already, no one's going to finish the race at that rate.
Well, we actually, we did have relatively few finishers at the opening round in Suzuka 4 weeks ago. And there's cars coming into the pit lane already, Sam.
Yeah, now is that going to be for wet tyres? It's too early, isn't it?
That would be very, very, very brave.
There's a stream of cars coming onto pit road. Now, I can't see what tyres they're coming in for. These cars might be very lightly fueled. And, yeah, there's slicks. So are they these guys all coming in to opt for the softer tyre?
Yeah, are they changing from the mediums onto the softs? And that raises a question as well, because what we saw at Suzuka 4 weeks ago, and yes, it is a change of compound onto the red sidewall tyres.
And that's Kenta Yamashita. That's at the risk of unsafe release, but he's end of pit lane. Kenta Yamashita, they're going onto those red sidewall.
And is someone stopped in the pit lane there, Sam?
No, I think that's the...
Oh, is that the car pulled from the grid?
Yeah, it's Markelov. He's in a blue car, and I can just see the end of that front wing. Can't quite tell. Markelov isn't showing on the timing screen, so I don't think it is. It could be Harrison Newey's got underway. It's Harrison Newey, I think.
Now, one of the things that we did see at Suzuka was quite significant tyre wear. As we see side by side, that is Tsukakoshi.
In the car that was formerly driven by Nicolas Charpentier, having a great battle and getting it done. But we're going to see a real change. So a lot of these guys who started on the mediums have very quickly realised they were on the wrong tyre. They've all switched to the softs. Those guys don't have to, by regulations, stop again as the yellow flag's flying in the final sector. Not quite sure why. As the safety cars come out.
It's raises a question,
Yeah.
though, Sam.
Now the safety car is out, and I'm not entirely sure what for. As the rest of the field now pours into the pit lane.
Could actually be great by Kunimoto or disastrous.
Yeah, he stayed out.
This will definitely, most certainly, give an advantage to the cars who actually pitted last time around. But you mentioned they're getting rid of the medium compound tyres after the end of the first lap.
Yeah, and well, basically what I was saying. So this is interesting. So some of the guys who are on softs are now coming in to make their tyre changes early on. I'm not sure why they're doing that. So he's switching on to the medium tyre from the soft tyre. So you do have one mandated pit stop in all Super Formula races, and that's a very unsafe relief down there.
I think that'll be looked at. That may well be very, very well be looked at.
And there's the trainer cars that made those early stops. Now they're under safety car, they can't overtake, but they could race down and start-finish straight, so they were all sort of putting their toes down a little bit there. Not entirely sure of the cause of this safety car right now.
We can say at this stage is Yuji Kunimoto still leads this race. He has not stopped, and I think may well be the only driver to have not stopped.
No, Makino has not stopped either. Nor has Yuhi Sekaguchi. And maybe that is the cause for the safety car.
That's Tinktum, isn't it?
Yeah, Dan Tinktum is sat across the track in his team at Mugen Red Bull liveried Honda-powered Dallara SF19, and I'm not quite sure how that's happened.
Not an easy place to recover that car either. Is he still in the car?
He is still in the car. There's no damage on the car.
So is this just maybe a spin and stalled it?
It looks very much that way, but he's still in the car, so he hasn't given up on this race yet. But that's 4 cars out already.
That's not been the best of weekends so far for Dan Tinktum, as we should. Okay, is he just locked up? And he's gone. Oh, he's hit the barrier. So he's locked up, gone on, hit the barrier,
and he's done the left rear. He hit the barrier of the left rear wheel, and he's broken the rear suspension on that. So that is why the snatch tractor is out. I think Tinktum hasn't actually accepted that he's out of this race.
Yeah, so Tinktum started 16th in the Team Mugen Honda car. He actually started 16th at Suzuka as well, but finished 8th on that day. He won't finish 8th today. Very much out of this race, and they do seem to be having a little bit of difficulty moving that car, possibly because the rear wheel has damage. There's no wheel movement as such.
Well, this safety car gives us a great opportunity to do what we always like to do under safety cars, which is talking about technical regulations. Yes, absolutely. That's what safety cars are for, so we can talk about technical regulations. So every single car in this race in the Super Formula Championship is a one-make Dallara chassis called the SF19. It's Halo equipped, but it's much lighter than the cars used in Formula 1 or indeed Formula 2. It's a lightweight car powered by a 650 plus, maybe up to 700 brake horsepower, 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with direct injection. Now these are kind of built to the same technical regulations as the V6 engines used in Formula 1, except they're 4-cylinder engines and they're 2 litres, not 1.6s. And the big difference is they run on the pump fuel available in the paddock at the racetrack, not special brews that they have in Formula 1. Artem Markelov, however, has decided to join in the fun.
Now, if you're wondering why this is, let's go back to Suzuka 4 weeks ago. Only 12 cars finished. Now, you do score points when you're in the top 8 in a Super Formula Championship race. So it's not we're already four cars down. So it's not inconceivable that sometimes even if you miss the first few laps and get out, you can still record some points, even if it means and Markov does join the race. He will be 4 laps behind. And he pulls straight off again. Well, because there's something wrong with the right front. It's not. I think it might be a suspension issue.
No, that looks more like the steering wasn't actually connected on the right front. Yeah, there's the steering arm.
That is.
That's what you might.
And that's going to be an extension of the safety car because he's not at a point where.
I think that's that response from the driver there, just to sling out a rather expensive steering wheel. Well, I can understand that. He's not a happy bunny.
Absolutely not, and rightly so. He didn't take any points in the first round of Suzuka. He finished 10th.
Oh, he's going to get fined for that. He hasn't put the steering wheel back on.
Yeah. But I mean, that is. I don't think I've ever really seen that, to be honest. I'm not recently anyway.
Is that the shortest race you've ever seen from a driver?
No.
Who hasn't crashed on the start?
No. Yarno truly, Malaysia, 1999, he didn't even make it to the grid.
Well, there you go. But they didn't start the race then, so that doesn't count.
So while you're here and under the safety car, do like and subscribe. Let's go racing. And join as well. We get some fantastic motorsport on this channel all for a year, such as what you're watching, Super Formula, and actually many other championships as well.
The Blancpain series, so we've had Silverstone's been on already. We've got some more great races coming up, and we've got some special thanks to those who are supporting this new channel. Issac Liu, Dave Dzwonczyk, I'm going to guess that is, Walter Moehle, Robbie Francevic, Melbeanyo sounds like a Brazilian football player, Christian MILESI, Corey Jott, GPA 95, DyrmaXXX, Robbie G, Joe Quirk, Nolin, Dillane, Darien, Quinn, Jonathan Sheeran, AJ Wattino, MP Rallyvideos, Ddogphace Morcane, Tom Porter, username is in use, Ddogphace, number 19, Bucktide, Dougal 14, he must be, I'm sure that's you, Devin Mitchell, Thomas Loiseau, Derek Lundie, WhalesTasteGreat, no they don't, GG0454, there you go, thanks guys. This is our little PBS moment when you watch the programme on PBS we started. So this programme has been brought to you thanks to viewers like you. Well, it's exactly that. Anyway, back to what is going on track, and that is a Lexus safety car.
And it looks as if it's actually stopped raining again, Sam. So this could just be one of those days where we get spots and splashes and bits and pieces of rain throughout, because it's actually quite sunny now. The sun has come out and looking quite bright. Still very windy. But that helps to dry the track out, and you can see the clouds going across there along the starting grid, which is quite nice. And now, as we're on the 5th lap of this race, Kunimoto leads behind the safety car. Sakaguchi, 2nd place, despite actually starting 19th. He has not stopped. Makino, 3rd place. He started in 15th place. He's also not stopped, and everyone behind them has stopped.
Well, I'm going to talk more about regulations, because I like doing that. So, tyres. Every car in this race must use... They don't really work without them. Every car in this race must use both of the available Yokohama tyre compounds. So the medium, they call it the medium and the soft. I don't know why they don't call it the hard and soft, but it's the medium and the soft tyre. The soft is the one with the red sidewalls. The medium is the one that doesn't have red sidewalls. However, almost every car in the field has already made a pit stop. Now, what complicates this is the fuel strategy. This is a series that has refueling pit stops. So how much fuel do you start the race on?
Well, in this race, it actually made even more difficult, because as we've been talking, we've seen lots of cloud, dark cloud into the far left of the screen there. Is do you fuel your car in anticipation that it may coincide with rainfall later in the race? And if you maybe don't think it's going to rain, do you fuel even longer? Do you do short stint? If you fuel longer, are you penalising yourself? And now, see, you've got dark clouds there, and it looks in this angle as if it's going to start raining again soon. That sunshine we saw a few moments ago in the start and finish is definitely not apparent on this side of the track.
And I think we saw a bit of blue sky up there, but if you start the race on a light fuel load, you're going to be quicker in the opening laps. However, if those opening laps are all behind a safety car, that advantage is rather deleted. But if you believe your weather radars and your weather experts, which a lot of these teams have got, believe that it's going to rain mid-race, then you only fuel to the mid-race point and then stick your wet tyres on, because you're probably going to be stopping behind a safety car anyway at that point and not lose your fuel advantage, so you can get track position. Sounds a bit like NASCAR. Well, meanwhile, we can have a look back at what happened to drivers in the first race, where we saw a lot of cars disappear from the track as well, and a lot of safety car periods. Well, we speculated during that race what the problems with those cars were. Well, Sakaguchi had a gearbox problem, and it may have been some relationship with the Toyota installation, but the gears just weren't working, and it may be something down to the way the team installed it. Ryo Hirakawa had tyre pressure setting problems, and that caused him to go off, or it caused him to have an issue, so he didn't have a big crash on that. Palu and Makino had both had tyre-related problems as well. I'm not quite sure how that stopped Palu coming out of the pits and grinding to a halt, but the series is saying it was a tyre-related problem that stopped him.
Well, it's interesting because don't forget that Palu actually pulled off.
Now, who are we looking in having pit stop?
Is that Harrison Newey? That's Harrison Newey.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is Harrison Newey.
And Harrison Newey is actually several laps behind.
Is he ahead of Markelov? I can't even remember.
No, he's lost a lap. He's definitely lost a lap. So,
well, he had to be pushed back into the pits, but they've got it going. This safety car's allowed a lot of these cars to get back onto track. That is Harrison Newey. Talking about race strategy, the rather brave race strategy from Nick Cassidy that won him the race in round 1 was actually all down to Nick Cassidy himself. Now, I've been told from an insider that Cassidy actually is a big motivator from the team. And when I say motivator, it sounds a bit more like a slave driver, because if he's unhappy with the way things are, he organises sleepover sessions with the team engineers and mechanics so they can talk through the night about building up morale and the strategies they're going to use in the race, which is a little bit dramatic. It described to me as not a bump on the log by any means. I don't actually know what that expression means, but yeah, he is clearly a little bit of somebody to watch. And I'm told he's extremely hungry for this year's championship in Super Formula because he's trying to get his name known a bit more internationally.
I mean, Nick Cassidy is a guy who has had plenty of success over the years. 3-time winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix, twice champion in the Toyota Racing Series. Came so close to winning both this championship and Super GT.
Well, he has won Super GT.
Yeah, and he has won Super GT back in 2017. But fell just short, just shy of Yamamoto last year. 1 point. 1 single point. As we're still going. And I'm assuming at this point they're still trying to clear Markelop's car from just outside the pit lane.
Oh, well, look at the camera there, Leigh, because if you look at the clouds coming in, that reminds me of just a summer's day at Knockhill, frankly. So it's about to pour with rain. And that will be very interesting to see how these teams will deal with it.
Look how windy that is, Sam. Look how windy that is.
Yeah.
You can see in the flags.
Well, here is Kazuki Nakajima earlier on telling us some stuff.
And very much a tune. I think the camera for Nakajima's interview also has rain on it.
Yeah, how did they manage that? He's in the garage.
Well, you know, got a bottle of water, just throw it at the camera. I'm sure they'll do the job. Markelov's car has actually been cleared from the track, so hopefully you can see he's actually just he's just been moved into the side area.
No idea why we're still on the safety car right now.
So, and realistically, this should be the last lap on the safety car.
James Guthrie has made a very good point from a race I was actually at, A1 Grand Prix at Brands Hatch 2005. Team France driver Alexander Premat stalled at the start of race 2, ending his race straight away. Did he really start then? I don't think that counts. I think you've got to cross the line.
Oh, Martin Brundle, Silverstone 1994.
Didn't cross the line, blew up.
I think he did cross the line. I think his engine blew up on the grid, but I think he had enough momentum to actually cross the start line.
Well, here we've got an interview with the BMAX racing team, one of the Red Bull back teams on the grid. So they've got 2 Red Bull back cars in this race. Lucas Al and, well, Dan Tickton, who isn't in this race anymore.
Well, our drives for the BMAX by Motorpark team, his teammate is Harrison Newey. Whereas Tigton drives for the Team Mugen team. So yes, we do have 2 Red Bull junior drivers in the... Look how actually heavy that wind is, by the way. I just noticed it on the grass. You've got 2 Red Bull junior drivers, but they do drive for different teams.
Now, if we had team radio and spoke better Japanese, I think you'd be hearing Kunimoto saying...
Lights are out, and about to go
saying,
again.
Oh, he's doing a full-on back up the field, close it
too
all
much.
up.
I think
NASCAR
that's too much. I think he's going too slow.
Look at that. It's really... It's 3 white. Oh.
That is too slow, I think. That is something that, if he's not careful, could...
You need to check the sporting regulations, the gap between safety car and lead car. I'm not sure what they are in this series. I thought Lewis Hamilton was going to get in trouble in Barcelona for doing this, but he's really backed up the field. And now he's letting it go, but is he going to back it up again? I don't think he is.
So Kunimoto leading as we go green again. Sakaguchi second, Makino third, Ishiro fourth, Sho Suboi 5th place. We are about to go green once again.
The top 4 all on soft tyres. 5th position, Sho Suboi medium tyres. It's going to be very interesting, actually, to see.
And they've actually almost caught the safety cars. Yes. Came out the final corner. And we go green. And we see Kunimoto's got an 0.8 of a second lead from Sakaguchi as they cross the line to start lap 8 of round 2 of Super Formula from Autopolis.
It could be morally hazardous, but you are watching Let's Go Racing here on YouTube.
I do wonder if that is something the stewards might look at, because I think Kunimoto was actually far too slow.
I do. I think that was, and they were three wide on that, and actually...
And it always caused some of the drivers to actually slow down significantly.
And overtake. But look at the rear ends of the cars moving here, Lee, because you're seeing the rear... I don't know if it's down to the cold tyres from the safety car. The back ends of these cars are really moving around quite a lot. And I think there might be a bit of liquid on the track in certain points.
So I think it's almost as if it's raining. It's a little bit damp-ish on one side of the track, but then you get to the end of the track, near around the start-finish corner and the first start-finish straight in the first few corners, where it's actually quite dry and sunny. And someone went wide there. I'm not quite sure who it was.
It's Kunimoto. I think it's all over the back of... yes, we're seeing it on the screen. Sekiguchi and Kunimoto are having quite a scrap at the front, and we're not actually watching that at the moment. That's one of the Docomo Team Dandelion cars, that white car, both of them, so that was who ran wide. I'm not sure which driver it is. Cassidy in the Team Tom's car there near the back, coming back up through the field, car 37, just behind Alex Palou, who I tipped to win this race, but I didn't see these weather conditions coming. Still 9 laps, 50 of 54. There's a lot of race to go, and we're going to see more pit stops, we're going to see refueling, and I think we're going to see some weather, and we're seeing a real shuffling of the mid-pack. And who is that in car? Yes, it was... 17 falling down the order.
Sakaguchi.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
is the replacement driver for Real Racing.
Yeah, that's why I keep on stumbling on car 17. Well, Jonathan Sheeran helping out, bringing you this fantastic race championship and many more here on Let's Go Racing. But right now we're seeing this battle between the... That's Nick Cassidy. No, that's not Nick Cassidy. Cassidy's behind it.
That's Lucas Auer going down the inside of Alex Palou. Palou having a bit of a difficult weekend this time around. Started 17th after that changeable qualifying session we had this morning. He had a very, very good run at Suzuka a couple of weeks ago. Started on the front row of the grid, but ended up getting a penalty for a mechanic working on his car less than 15 seconds before the start of the race.
So it's getting a bit spread out at the front. Kenta Yamashita is hunting down Hiroki Ishiura a little bit. You're not seeing it at the moment because we're watching this massive scrap in the midfield, which I think is going to be the sort of the catchphrase of Super Formula in 2019. Massive scrap in the midfield. That is obviously Nakajima chasing down, and it's not Cassidy, that's what I got confused. It's Nakajima in the other Team Tom's car.
It's just for one person who this strategy so far hasn't really worked out for, Sho Suvoi, down in 9th place now on the medium tyres in very cool windy conditions, and I think he's lost 3 or 4 more places since the race restarted a few moments ago. Was getting overtaken on the outside of turn 1.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, he had the lights flashing, which means he's using the overtake system, which gives them a little bit more fuel flow, a little bit more power during the race. The drivers have, I think 120 seconds of boost overtaking mode, and it's up to them to how they use it. But once they've used it, they can't use it again for another 120 seconds, which is why you see the fast flashing when it's deployed, and then the slow flashing of the roll hoop lights when it's not deployed.
That was Nakajima taking another position off of Sho Suvoi. So it's the medium tyres in these conditions do not seem to be working. As the only other medium tyre drivers we see out there, Oshimi 7th place at the moment, and of course Tsukakoshi in 14th place.
Team Le Mans driver Oshima is, as you say, this is a bit of a running comment here in the bento box, in 7th position. He is, as you say, the highest placed medium tyre runner and the 5th placed Toyota driver. 2 different engine manufacturers in the series, obviously, as well, Toyota and Honda. All using these Super GT derived NRE 4-cylinder engines. I think they sound great as well.
They do sound absolutely wonderful. It does look like it's getting darker, so I think there's more rain.
It does. I think it's going to rain, and I think that's what these that big.
And I think if you're on soft tyres right now, that's a good shout for these conditions. I think if you're on medium tyres, you're really going to start to struggle soon.
I was a bit baffled why anybody went to the mediums. Now you're seeing that little bit of telltale of weather change. You can see those little vortices coming off the rear wing, which is always a little sign of racing that rain is coming.
We have seen there, I think that was Tsukakoshi is actually taking Alex Palou. Or sorry, no, that's Tsukakoshi ahead of Kobayashi, my mistake.
Yeah, Kobayashi in that very similar coloured KCMG car. The only entry from Hong Kong in this Championship, and I've always been slightly confused as to why Kumiya Kobayashi is a works Toyota driver is in the overseas team. And as you see the Team Tom's car chasing up, that's Nick Cassidy,
championship leader,
on the back of, yeah, but he needs to get some points to get past Kobayashi. But I think that it's, it's getting visually darker at Okayama now,
yeah,
and
the weather's definitely changing now.
You can see rain spots on a lot more of the cameras. We're going to see a lot of guys. Well, I think we can see they're all going to stay out as long as they can on slicks. Now, if you've ever been doing rental go-karting in England, which means it's probably raining, you know how difficult it is to keep control of something on slicks in the wet. Well, I think we're about to see a very graphic example of that here at Okayama. It's the southernmost track visited by Super Formula down on the island of Kyushu.
And Kobayashi really trying to find a way past Tsukakoshi. Both he and Cassidy really need to get past Tsukakoshi, who's actually done a reasonably well job considering how late he's jumped into this car. He did race for Real Racing up until the end of last season, but was replaced by Christian Carpentier, who for various reasons that has fallen away now. And
this is the battle for fourth position right now.
That is
it's Makino's battle. Yeah, it's a battle for third position. Sorry, I think that's Ishiura. Yes, it is Ishiura on the back of Makino.
Yeah. And Ishiura has pit. Makino's not stopped yet.
No, this was me not being able to count. But look how much more rain is on that camera lens now, and they're clearly slowing down and staying off the white lines through that central section of this Okayama track. Okayama oddly doesn't have very good corner names, so we can't. That's why we're not referring to the corner names here at Okayama.
And this is where the strategy may work, as we see Kunimoto under pressure, massive pressure from Sakaguchi. Sakaguchi ran very well at Suzuka, but unfortunately had that gearbox failure after the pit stops in the first round. Now, as we see Makino,
yeah, that's big defensive driving from Makino.
Ishiura wide there.
Ishiura's got the overtake system deployed, but Makino held him off. But he's still got that overtake system. He's still got the button pressed, so he's going through the corners with that extra power, trying to get it done on Makino. That's a mistake. He should have backed off and come again.
This is a strategy that will work for the top three if they're forced into a position where everyone has to stop for rain tyres, and we may not necessarily be that far away from that. And if that is the case, that is a brilliant strategy from the Makino and Sakaguchi's teams.
Kunimoto visually looking in his right mirror, but look going round the other side. It is Sakaguchi trying to go round the outside overtaking system. Deployed.
Wheel to wheel. And almost hit Kunimoto, got a bit of a wobble on the front end, but Sakaguchi makes the move work, takes the lead. Kunimoto's fighting back, but Sakaguchi keeps the lead this time around. Fantastic piece of overtaking there.
Cracking, but I don't think this is done yet. Kunimoto isn't going to take that one standing as the 51 car now.
Harrison Nui taking Tsukakoshi
for 18th position. So actually Harrison Nui is down on position, so he's working his way back through the field. So
Harrison Nui is actually a lap down, so he's just he's getting track time, which is useful.
Well, as we've said before, I mean, with the attrition rate we've seen in the first race, and we're beginning to see in this race, and with the rain now clearly coming down,
getting very wet soon. We're probably not a million miles away from changing onto wet weather tyres. Interested to see what kind of compound the wet weather tyres are here. I think we may be starting to see. I thought we were seeing a little bit of spray, but I actually think it was dust.
It's not wet enough.
It's
for the
not
wets
even
yet.
close to wet enough yet.
No intermediates here, I believe. So it's just the Yokohama A006 full wet tyre.
And to put this into context, the drivers going round, they're not losing a significant amount of time yet. They're maybe 2, 3 seconds, 4 seconds a lap slower at this stage. It's not enough of a drop off yet, and we're not seeing that kind of squirrely motion that you see from dry tyres on a wet surface. We're still quite away yet, but not far, I don't think.
I love this overtaking system because it's far better than that fake DRS stuff that a lot of series are trying to adopt, and this puts the real decision in the hands of the drivers about defending and overtaking. And as you'll see during the race, the green roll hoops will change colour depending on how many times they've used the overtaking system until it runs out altogether.
As a kind of point of order, as we see a replay of the start, there's a very good start there by Kunimoto, and Nui, one of the cars, stalled. I didn't quite identify who the other car was.
We did earlier on, and I've forgotten who it was now. He got going there.
I think it was Nojiri.
Yes, it was.
Now, for qualifying this morning, the top lap times in around 1 minute 47 to 1 minute 48. So we're still 10 to 12 seconds faster than those lap times. But that was a very wet session this morning. As we see They start once again, and you know what? Very, very good job by all the drivers to make it around the first few corners safely, as we see Sakaguchi leading this race and absolutely romped away.
Yeah, he's liking these conditions. 5.1 second gap right now.
3 seconds a lap faster than Kunimoto last lap around.
That's astonishing.
So Sakaguchi's really in the Team Umpo car. Both Team Umpo cars actually started this race on the last row of the grid. Well, at the end, at the back of the grid. Hirakawa, meanwhile.
Yeah, so Sakaguchi's done a fantastic job. Kunimoto, you're right, he's absolutely fading.
Hirakawa is actually down in 11th place, but Sakaguchi really showing the way here.
Let's put this into context. Sakaguchi has just set the fastest lap of the race. Everybody else is 2 or 3 seconds slower.
A 1 minute 30.777 for Sakaguchi. And Sam, as you just mentioned, you're right. You see marbles coming off the tyres there, but everyone else in the 1 minute 32s, 1 minute 33s. But then you get to this part of the circuit, the infield.
Oh, you can see now. You can see how wet that corner is.
And it's interesting because this is not the longest circuit in the world by any stretch of the imagination. As we see, that's Harrison Nui going past actually Sakaguchi's teammate, Hirakawa.
But Nui's progress is a little bit irrelevant at this point. He's just trying to make up ground.
He's doing it decent times, actually, Harrison Nui. It's a shame that he has actually lost a lap.
Actually, I tell you what, no, that's Alex Palou going past Hirakawa.
Oh, my mistake. Same liveries. Yes, same livery. So as we see, Palou. A good move, actually. Very, very good move. And I tell you, he didn't give much room there to Hirakawa.
Look how dry it is down there. I mean, that bit of the circuit couldn't be dry, but as they get to that one corner, and I think it's the hairpin corner at the bottom of Sector 2, it's the only really wet corner.
One of the things I was referencing a moment ago, for what is a relatively short circuit, it's interesting that you have dry and sunny on one side of the track, then you get to the hairpin and the infield, and it actually looks quite damp, quite blustery and quite miserable, to be frankly honest.
What, have you never been to Moehle?
Yes, I have, and I got windburn. only drivers out of this race thus far are Artem Markelov and Dan Tinktum.
Hello, Paul Montesinos. Welcome to Let's Go Racing, and if you're enjoying this rather unpredictable race from Okayama, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Autopolis, it's not Okayama. I don't know why I said Okayama.
Sakaguchi 7.9 seconds ahead of Kunimoto now. He is on a race-winning stint. And as I mentioned, Sakaguchi was running well at Suzuka when he had his mechanical issue and retired from the race. So we're seeing now the performance, the delivery that we probably should have seen in Suzuka 4 weeks ago, but we're really robbed of that opportunity. And Sakaguchi's doing an absolutely fantastic job so far.
Do you know who's going to be really disappointed? It's Dan Tinktum. I think he came into this race feeling he had a point to prove after Suzuka.
Well, he was fastest in FP1 and really was looking confident.
No points for FP1 though, mate.
Absolutely not. But of course, it didn't come together in qualifying either. He only got one run, which left him lingering down in 16th place and retired from this race 2-3 laps in.
Now, a question just came in on the chat about the engine used by the Toyota-powered cars, because it's called the Biz 001. Now, that's an engine you can phone up TRD in Japan and buy. So if you want to put that in, well, whatever race car you've got, and I believe there may be a road legal version as well being on offer, and it comes as a kit of parts, you can have it. So the overtaking system is linked to all of the engines, Honda and Toyota, and it gives them a little bit higher fuel flow, and that's why you see, so it allows them a bit more power and a bit more boost for a limited amount of time. But as they use that overtaking system, you'll see the roll hoops colour, so change colour. So if you look at the number 16 Team Mugen car, which just disappeared off the camera, you'll see his roll hoop's gone red, which means he's used up an awful lot of his overtake system. As Sakaguchi really is giving a driving lesson at the moment, quite frankly.
10.2 ahead. Last lap, he was 2.3 seconds faster than Kunimoto. This isn't really working out so far for Kunimoto if it stays dry, because this pace simply isn't there. Sakaguchi, this race is almost falling into him. It may not be necessarily, okay, we'll need, 25 seconds or so to get it for a pit stop gap?
17 out of 54. I wonder if Sakaguchi is super light on fuel, and that's how he's managing to do this, because look at that. He's out having a private track day, isn't he?
A very expensive private track day, it must be said. He's on the soft tyres as well, and he's had them from the very, very start of the race, so they have done quite a few miles. on these tyres so far.
Well, that green roll hoop band showing he's not using the overtaking system, and he's got lots of the 120 seconds of overtaking boost left.
But he hasn't needed to, has he?
He had that little battle there with Kunimoto, and that's it. But look at the Kunimoto is falling back into the clutches now with Makino and Ishiura.
But it's beginning to balance slightly. Sakaguchi is beginning to slow down. His time's now down into the 32s. But the problem is Kunimoto, etc. behind him are all in the 34s, as we see. This is a
That's
move.
round the outside. That's car 64. It's one of the Nakajima racing cars. And that is,
Palou.
of course, Alex Palou,
Who's
working
just-
his way back up. And actually, it's interesting. The next car Palou's got to go and get, and I think he might have actually just got, indeed he has just got, is the Shosuboi and he's the highest placed medium tyre runner. The medium tyres just aren't working in these conditions.
I think that's not Hirakawa, is it?
No, I believe no. That was an Ingen car, and that was
Yes,
the
you're right.
Shosuboi.
It is Shosuboi. Yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. So Palou now in 10th place. Shosuboi really falling backwards on the medium tyres.
Now, what's this a replay of? Just the overtaking area.
Yeah, this is the
Shosuboi
overtake.
making the run on.
Palou
around
really
outside,
making
yeah, it's
progress.
The Ingen car there on the medium tyres just hasn't got any answered.
James Guthrie asking, how many Super Formula teams racing Super GT as well? So there's quite a few. I think.
Yeah, most of them. Just put it as most of them. I can't think of a team that isn't current. Oh, KCMG isn't currently in Super GT. They're doing other sports car racing, but they have done Super GT before. And Dandelion Racing also is not in Super GT currently.
So as we see,
Because Sakaguchi just like, I think he's either got to be extremely light on fuel, or this is an absolute masterclass.
but his tyres are he's definitely beginning to lose a bit of pace. But as I mentioned a few moments ago, Kinimoto, etc. behind him are actually going slower.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's still gaining time over the field. 13 seconds now.
I think there's an element that Kinimoto does not have the pace at the moment, but no one else, Makino, Ashura, Yamashita, none of them have been able to get past him, and they're kind of locked into Kunimoto's pace as well.
I love looking at the cars parked on the bank there. It reminds me of a Sunday afternoon at Liddon Hill. Watching
We're
Rallycross.
very, very, very far from Liddon Hill, unfortunately.
Yes, it's the opposite side of the world. So, Sakaguchi just demonstrating his superiority to the rest. But behind him, there is a rather compelling battle going on. We're not seeing it, but from 3rd position down to 9th position, there's less than a second between every single car on track. And I think you'll see some battling coming on. Alex Palou in the number 64 car, 10th position now. There you can see those gaps on the screen. He's got to make up 2 seconds to get onto the back of Kazuki Nakajima, and then you can see that big squabble going on from 3rd. Well, 3rd's now got away a little bit, but from Ishiura back down to Nakajima is a big squabble of cars, which we're not seeing. There is coming out Kunimoto, long back, Makino behind. The push-to-pass system can be used defensively, but look at that squabble. There it is. Now, on red, the 3rd car you can see on the screen, 4th position overall, is Ishiura, who's used up a lot of his push-to-pass. He is going to be in trouble later in the race when the rest of this squabble comes to get him. And there is the back of the fields. Push-to-pass there being used. Ooh, getting very squarely in was Nick Cassidy, trying to get past Lucas Auer there and nearly hit the back of him.
It's not been the best of weekends so far for teams. Thomas, as we mentioned earlier on, you got Kazuki Nakajima in 9th place at the moment.
Look at
Nick
the way
Cassidy 14th.
Look at the way the cars are changing their line through the hairpin, though. It's raining down there again.
Definitely very, very, very changeable conditions, but it's not so. We haven't seen dramatic changes of weather. We've not seen huge showers come in and then going back to dry. It's little pockets of rain here and there. 20 laps into this 54-lap race, still plenty of time for that to change. As you see, Kunimoto under pressure, very much under pressure from Makino. Ishiro there, 4th place. Kenta Yamashita is going to be there in 5th place as well. And Yamamoto, championship winner from last season, he is in 6th place at the moment for Team Dandelion Racing.
Now, my screens are showing that Ishiura has just lost a chunk of time, and I'm not quite sure how he's managed that, but he's lost about 4 seconds on this lap. So whether something's occurred that we haven't seen on screen, I'm not quite sure. But right now, Nick Cassidy is all over the back of that Red Bull liveried car.
It's Lucas Auer for 13th and 14th place.
Quite likes his Red Bull, doesn't it, Cassidy? Gets a free supply, I guess, with his Super GT drive.
He used to be a Red Bull driver in Formula 3, I believe back a few years ago.
And his car is sponsored by Red Bull in GT 500, but Lucas Auer himself has got other things on his mind.
He's chasing
Hirakawa. And up ahead of them is Shosuboi, the only medium tyre runner.
As this actually is really turned out quite poorly for Shosuboi, who started second on the grid.
Well, you thought, it was all over, it could win this race, but
the change to medium tyre, which to be honest just didn't really make much sense.
On a cold, dampish track.
On lap, I can understand changing on lap 1 to make the tyre go right to the end. But with changeable conditions in the air, it just seemed like a very unusual decision to make. Almost everyone else, apart from Sukagoshi, changed to soft tyres.
Now this could get quite spicy between these two. Cassidy, championship leader, hunting the title here on the back of Lucas Auer, a Red Bull driver.
Also former competitors in the Toyota Racing Series over the years as well.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Lucas Auer actually did quite a few seasons in it. He did, and he actually came back in Toyota Racing Series at the beginning of this year to kind of bed himself back into single-seater racing. He spent several years racing for Mercedes and DTM, of course. And this was his first season since 2014 as a full year in single-seaters.
Well, there you go.
As you see, Kunimoto again, second place. 17.8 seconds behind race leader Sakaguchi. Sakaguchi is not going to have too much further to go before he actually has a pit stop in hand.
Yeah, and I think that his strategy is playing out. Is he lighter on fuel, or is he just driving brilliantly, or is it a bit of both?
In theory, what kind of window are we looking at for a pit stop, Sam? Is it 25 seconds to 28 seconds in around that kind of gap?
I haven't timed how long the pit lane is, so not a clue.
And there was me thinking you'd be there with a stopwatch and a tape measure.
Tell you after the pit stops. How about that? Well,
as you see,
as my timing screen brings up something completely irrelevant, which was the TCR results from earlier.
TCR Japan actually first round this weekend.
Yeah, but previously TCR cars had only raced in Super Tight Q Championship.
So we were actually looking at Yamamoto at the moment chasing down Sheeran. And you're right, Sheeran does seem to have lost some ground to Makino and Kunimoto up front.
Yeah, he lost a chunk of time a few laps ago, but he's back up to pace. Yeah.
He's fallen up to 5 seconds behind, but yeah, he's back up to actual race pace again.
We never saw what happened there, but maybe his tyres are going off, I'm not entirely sure. And that's literally what I was just doing in the studio. And you think I wasn't? Well, have a look on your social media. You will see that shortly.
Yamamoto, he's chasing hard, as we see just behind.
That was the overtaking
That's
system.
Oshima taking Kenta Yamashita. That is going to be for 6th place. Very good, brave move on the inside of turn 1.
It's like they all woke up suddenly, isn't it? The racing in this series is just quite unpredictable, isn't it? Throwing a little bit of rain, different tyre compounds, refuelling, Japanese race circuits. Well, who knows what's going to happen.
Fukuzumi there in the white car in 8th place. Just behind him is former F1 driver Kazuki Nakajima in 9th place. Also a racer with Toyota in the World Endurance Championship.
Yeah, Nakajima has had quite a lot of time. Always a Toyota driver, unlike the rest of his family who are Honda powered.
Absolutely. Of course, Nakajima didn't finish the first round in Suzuka a few weeks ago. He had an incident with Harrison Newey during the race, so no points so far for Nakajima on the board.
We need to be watching this battle on screen right now.
And that is
with Yamashita.
That is Cassidy with Kobayashi behind. Lucas Auer still in front. That's for 13th, 14th, 15th place. Just going back, Kazuki Nakajima, no points from round 1. He's still 9th place at the moment, not getting any points. But this is not a round. This is not like Formula 1 with 21 races. This is a relatively brief championship. It's only got a handful of races, so you can't afford to not score points.
We need to see a replay because Kenta Yamashita and Oshima are having a cracking scrap and have just switched positions somewhere on track and we haven't seen it.
Yes, that was in turn 1, last lap around.
Ah, yes, of course it was.
So we're looking at Yamamoto at the moment in 4th place. Oshira is going to be climbing right over the back of him in a few moments' time.
It serves me right for looking at the timing screen when I should have been looking at the track.
But I'm thinking now, if Sakaguchi were to pit, he may actually have enough of a gap over Yamamoto. The gap is now 27.2 seconds. He probably want to add another couple of seconds to that for absolute safety. But I think Sakaguchi almost certainly has enough of a gap to actually slot in a pit stop.
He's not far off that window. I mean, 22 seconds, as you say.
And he's still pulling 1.5 seconds a lap out of Yamamoto as well, so he could make it absolutely certain in the next couple of laps.
And Kunimoto and Makino are going to start taking time off each other, I think, as well, quite soon, because they are very, very close to each other on track.
But they also still have to pit, so they're in a position where they will, if they were to pit now, they would drop well down the order. They would actually probably drop down to 14th, 15th position.
And the question comes, we've still got more than half of the race to go. The weather is very uncertain. The amount of the fuel loads of these different cars, we don't know how much fuel each car has got on board, but they need to refuel. Look at this battle now.
This is Kunimoto with Makino behind. Makino trying for 2nd place. Now this will be interesting. If Makino can get by, what would his pace be like? And he's going left, he's going right, not trying to find a way through there. Will he get through on this occasion? Can't make it round the outside. Makino really wants to force a way past Kunimoto into 2nd place. And he's really going very hard down the inside and onto the grass. And they go wide. But Makino takes a position, a fantastic move.
Is he going to keep it though? Because coming back at him round the outside, it's Yamamoto. No, Yamamoto's calmed down a little bit. Hold ahead on those shoulders though. Will he come back again?
Very brave move though from Makino. Saw the gap and went for it. Wheels on the grass briefly, but they managed to not collide. Both ran wide, cost them quite a bit of time.
Here comes Yamamoto. Look at their right front tyres there, Leigh. There's a bit of wear visible on these tyres.
Ashura's got Yamamoto. Ashura has got Yamamoto.
Yeah.
So he is now in 4th place. Yamamoto down to 5th.
Well, this is getting lively now, isn't it? I think the tyres are beginning to go off. Those guys on softs are beginning to struggle with the life of these tyres. They're not. A lot of these guys stopped so early in the race.
They stopped at the end of lap 1 when the safety car came out. Now they did have 7 laps of safety car period, but they have been driving pretty hard.
Well, you have to remember Sakaguchi, Makino and Kunimoto haven't stopped yet. These are the tyres they started the race. They're 26 laps old. They're not really designed for this. Those 7 of those were behind the safety car.
And Sakaguchi's still setting laps in the mid 1 minute 31, so he's still powering away from his field. Sakaguchi's 26 seconds ahead of Makino in 2nd place.
You can see the wear on the front tyres, and the rears are only going to be worse now. And I do wonder. You can see those stripes beginning to appear. That's a telltale sign. I do start to wonder how light is Sakaguchi's fuel load. We'll find out at the fuel stop. Some of these cars may be running a slightly heavier fuel load for a quicker pit stop to try and get track position. Perhaps we won't know their fuel loads yet. But you can see those marbles beginning to build up, which could make things a little bit hairy, shall we say, on track.
And the HJC95 saying this race is already 100 times better than the last F1 Grand Prix.
Only 100.
A lot of good things happen in Barcelona. Unfortunately, the Grand Prix isn't always one of them.
I very much enjoyed the Formula 2 race, and the start of the Formula 1 race was great. Like what?
What's a turn 1?
Yeah.
It's the best 200 metres in Grand Prix that day, unfortunately. But we're having a fantastic race here at Autopolis.
It's like 400 metres. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Let's Go Racing, and join if you'd like to help support the channel. It's a bit like PBS. We're powered by viewers like you. And none of those foundation bits you get at the beginning of a PBS documentary that I've never heard of.
Sakaguchi still powering ahead, 27.4 seconds ahead. He's almost at the stage now. If Sakaguchi were to pit, he's almost at the stage where he'd actually still come out ahead of the non-stopped Makino. But we did theorise that the gap for a pit stop he needs probably 25 to 30 seconds. I'm thinking maybe 28. So he really should almost be in that gap. As we see Lucas Auer trying to make a move on So Shoeboy. So Shoeboy's lost 40 seconds, Sam, on the medium tyres.
Yeah, and he obviously is going to need to stop, but obviously that's dictated by the life in the second stint on the soft tyre.
Now he has already stopped. He started on the softs and changed to the mediums on lap 1.
So there is Shosuboy and Lucas Auer scrapping. That's Nick Cassidy on the back of Auer still. He's going to get fed up on the back of him now.
So there's a battle for 12th and 13th place. As we see Lucas Auer having a go.
I'm impressed by this as Auer.
Is it getting past Shosuboy? I think he is. That is Auer.
He is, yeah.
Now that is Auer up to 11th place, and Cassidy's going to have a go as well. Shosuboy just no pace at this moment, unfortunately.
Because he's on those medium tyres, so he's just not got any pace. He can't get the grip.
Shoeboy's in the 1:35. Those around him are in the 1:33. So it's clearly not working. A bit of strategy paralysis, really.
Auer getting very twitchy on the exit there. So that could be a little bit of an issue with tyre wear or conditions. We still think the conditions are shifting. That's Logiri there.
Sitting behind Kunimoto.
Yep. Which is...
Cassidy is past So Shoeboy now.
Easy.
Well, I don't understand this strategy from So Shoeboy and the...
and he stopped early on and put
Tsurumu Inging team.
Took the softs off and put the mediums on. So either there's something very clever that we're not seeing about the weather or the second stint, but I can't see it's working. He's lost a huge amount of time. And when you've got Sekiguchi who's just disappeared, he's checked out. Now 30 seconds ahead of the field.
29.4. As you see an overtake here, that's Cassidy getting past
Shosuboy. And you can see there the red tyres and the white sidewalls.
And made very easy, to be frankly honest, as well. As Cassidy comes right back up to the back of Lucas Auer.
Still a bit of work to do.
It's a battle for 10th and 11th place.
Now we're seeing something. I'm just getting a message on the screen that something's up with Nakajima. Now, did he come into the pits or has he lost time somehow? Just keep an eye on what's going in. My on-screen messaging is telling me. Let's keep an eye on Nakajima. That's the car of interest at the moment.
I think the must mean he's lost 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Nakajima lost 10 to 12 seconds
somewhere around. Now there's Cassidy and Auer. Nakajima's car looks just like that one of Cassidy, and there's some debris on the track there. As Cassidy gets a toe off Auer, no sign of Nakajima. Did he pit?
It's Harrison Nui, the lapped Harrison Nui, going around So Shosuboy as well.
Well, we've seen Nakajima fall down the field. I think Nakajima has pitted, though it's not showing on my screen that he has made another pit stop. He's lost an awful lot of time.
Interesting now, Makino's second place has pulled nearly 5 seconds ahead of Kunimoto. Makino very much holding the gap to Sekiguchi in around 29.5 seconds to 30 seconds. The gap between Sekiguchi and Makino in pace is only a few tenths of a second per lap. Kunimoto losing 1.5 to 2 seconds per lap to the race leader, as we see Sekiguchi all alone, and really probably not too far from lapping. I think it's no. Actually, no, he's probably still got quite a go.
He's still got a bit of a way to go. But just to give you some statistics on Sekiguchi's race, he's gained 15 positions on this set of tyres. He has yet to make a pit stop.
He's got 36.5 seconds. As you see on screen there, he's got 36.5 seconds. That's the gap to the next pitted driver.
His lap times have dropped off a little bit. He's now doing 1:32.2s. Everybody else in the field is doing 1:33s.
Yeah, that is compared to a still much slower time from those in the field who've already pitted. At this rate, if Sekiguchi were to pit, he may come out of the pits with a 5 to 6 second lap gap advantage to the first pitted driver, which is Yamamoto in 4th place. We see on screen now.
And The one thing we're looking at that's a little bit different, and I've mentioned it a couple of times already. Now, keep your eyes on those roll hoops. Those with the green lights on the roll hoops have still got their full overtaking system, or very nearly their full overtaking system. 120 seconds of extra boost allowed, as we see. Well, neither of those drivers using. That's Kamui Kobayashi. That's why he hasn't bothered, because he's not racing that car he's just passed. That car is a lap down. The Kobayashi in the blue and white car's gone, so he's not going to waste any of his overtaking boost on it. But when you see that light start to flash, that's when they're using it. And we're seeing a replay of Kobayashi.
It's Kobayashi making that move.
Putting a lap down, putting a lap on. Oh.
That is So Suboi. That was for position.
That was for position, you're right.
That was for position.
Oh, yeah, I'd spotted that, yeah. Well done, I thought that was the lap down.
I mean, So Suboi now down in 13th place, so...
He just
I don't really know what else to say.
Unless they're convinced that there is rain coming...
But even then, everyone still has to pit, so it leaves him in a net 13th place if everyone has to stop again.
Yes, but he doesn't want to have to stop twice.
As we see Yamamoto going around the outside of Kunimoto. Will he make a move there? Doesn't quite pull it off. Looks to the inside, but loses a little bit of momentum. Goes around the outside again. Kunimoto closes the door, but has he done enough? As you can see, Yamamoto with the overtake, flashing on the roll hoop bar, makes the move around the outside of turn 3. Now Yamamoto 3rd place. Kunimoto down to 4th.
Kunimoto's got to be very, very careful, because he's used up his allowed overtake. He's used up he's lifted off the overtaking system. That's why the roll hoop was flashing slowly. Behind him, though, is Oshima, and he hasn't used his overtaking system. So Yamamoto is a little bit vulnerable to what's behind him.
The other thing that Yamamoto and a lot of the drivers around him also need to be wary of is they all stopped on lap 1. Sam, they all stopped on lap 1. They were 32 laps into this race. They still have another 22 to go. As we see Oshima pressuring Kunimoto now for 4th and 5th place.
And look at that slow blinking light on the roll hoop of the red and white car of Yamamoto. That means he cannot use the overtaking system at the moment. And behind him, with the solid green light, the blue car of Oshima can use it, and he should be using it. As we see car 36, that's Kazuki Nakajima. Now he's the next target, well, the next person to get one over on Show Suboi now.
So we must have missed something on Nakajima now, whether he had an off or something like that, but he lost 5 positions in 10 seconds.
He didn't make another pit stop, so I don't know where he went.
As we see, that is Oshima chasing down Kunimoto. Kunimoto's really struggling.
Yeah, but Kunimoto...
He has not pitted yet. He has not pitted yet. Kunimoto will have to change onto the medium tyres as well.
Kunimoto also has now got his overtaking system back. He's waited that 120 seconds. And because Oshima didn't get it done, Ishiura has come into the picture.
And as has Yamashita as well in 7th place. That's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place, all effectively in one shot.
And they're
with 8th place Fukuzumi just behind them.
And they're all slowing each other down as well, so that's giving Fukuzumi the opportunity to get onto terms with them. Not all that far behind are Palu, Hour and Cassidy.
Kunimoto is now in the 1 minute 35, Sam. He's really, really losing an awful lot of pace.
And he's slowing up this entire field.
Put it into this perspective, Kunimoto's now 45 seconds behind Sakaguchi, the race leader.
Yeah, Sakaguchi can pit, have a cup of tea, some tyres, a bit of fuel, bento box.
Do you have a biscuit?
Maybe a bento box. Or one of those triangular rice things. Really tasty.
Meanwhile, we see Oshima still chasing around Kunimoto. Kunimoto, again, this is like So Suboi. This is a strategy that's beginning to unravel slightly on soft tyres. Is it a case of, as we see Oshima, he's going around the outside and locked tyres, but makes it work? Do they avoid contact? They do. That could have been quite dangerous.
Yeah, but that's really slowed them down to the 2 cars behind them. Keep an eye on Ishiura.
There's a team no more.
Kenta Yamashita, who I think Ishiura just got it done on Yamashita. I was watching the other 2 cars. There are 2 teammates there, so Kunimoto and Kenta Yamashita.
I think he has.
Yeah.
I think he has. So Oshira now into 6th place, and he'll be chasing down Kunimoto. This is really not working out that well for Kondo Racing at the moment. because they are losing positions to those around them. Sakaguchi, meanwhile, 31 seconds ahead, more than safe enough gap to take a pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, he's just sitting waiting for the rain, I think, but if there is any.
I think there's also a slightly different element to this, Sam, as they're all on the soft tyres. Now, we've seen Social Boy struggling on the medium tyres. We've seen some others. Tsukakoshi also struggled on the medium tyres, so my guess would be they want to spend as little time as humanly possible on the medium tyres, so they will run these soft tyres right to the absolute edge, right to the point where they're almost about to drop off the cliff, because the pace on the medium tyres is such it'd actually lose time if they were to spend too long on those harder medium compound tyres.
Of course, it's not just down to the tyre life though. They've got fuel to worry about.
Absolutely.
How much gas have they got in the tank? As we see trying to go round the outside is for Kazumi.
Oh, he's done it. He's got he's still got Yamashita.
He has. Yamashita seems to be fading quite badly at the moment.
And just behind them, I think.
Well, that's
he's got Lucas Auer there in 10th place. Cassidy in 11th.
Hunting him down. Bear in mind that's 2 spots off getting points, which Cassidy really needs.
And Pelu 9th place as well. He's made a good charge through the field after starting 17th. He's currently in 9th place.
Ishura is the next person who wants to have a go and getting past Kunimoto.
Bear in mind, Makino in 2nd place still has to pit. Kunimoto still needs to pit as well. So there's 2 drivers who will drop well down the order when they pit, bringing the likes of Pelu, Auer into the points and Cassidy into 9th place.
Ishura there trying to sell a dummy to Kunimoto. Kunimoto not having any of it.
Kunimoto's going to be very, very disappointed with this, considering he started on pole, Sam. He's nearly 50 seconds behind the race leader now in 5th place, and going to lose another 30 when he does actually stop for tyres eventually, and then have to go onto the mediums.
What he is doing, however, Kunimoto, is holding up all of the cars behind him and making that gap to Sakaguchi even bigger.
But also giving Oshima and Yamamoto, etc., a little bit of a gap as well. They're running very much clear air without any threat from behind. But this is a very, very, very tight mid-pack coming into these latter stages of the race. We're on lap 35 of 54, 19 left in this second round of the 2019 Super Formula Championship on Let's Go Racing. Welcome to Stephen Manguino, a new member of the Let's Go Racing channel. Don't forget, like, subscribe and join.
Viewers like you help us bring you Super Formula year-round here on Let's Go Racing. Tsuyoshi Sakaguchi is going to be, if the other drivers in this field on their team radios are hearing his lap times, they'll want to pack up and go home. Yuhi Sakaguchi just did a 31.8. Nobody else in the field is in the 31s at all.
Is he still able to manage that pace?
He's going faster. He's not even managing. He's going faster. He's obscenely fast, I think is what you have to say.
It's an incredible battle now. I mean, realistically from 4th all the way down to 11th, 12th. It is such an incredibly tight battle.
Now that battle is getting squished up, and it's actually this could be one of those battles that defines the championship at the end of the season, because I think this one is going to come down to the final points, because well, that's how they write the point system in this championship, just so it's always a good battle. What's wrong with that? Well, long line of cars. Lucas Auer has used up a lot of his overtaking boosts.
He's come through the field very much in this race.
But Ishura now getting around, trying to go around the outside of Kunimoto. Kunimoto nearly pushing him wide. That was slightly morally hazardous.
But just enough room there. And you can see Kunimoto's right front tyre is very, very, very long in its life. Sheeran didn't try to go around the inside of 3. He tries around the outside. He's not going to find a way through there, but he is also going to be watching out from behind. Fukuzumi is looking to get another position. He's 7th place at the moment.
Yeah, but Cassidy's now very much in contact with the back of this pack as well, so he's looking to go through. Look at that, Lucas Auer there as well. So if Ishihara doesn't get this done, Ishihara needs to be careful, as you say. But then Fukuzumi, Kenta Yamashita, Alex Palou, Lucas Auer, Nick Cassidy, all together on track. this is going to be, and they're all trying to pass it as we say. Look, little bit of a twitch there from Issac. Fukuzumi is right there, but Kenta Yamashita now is battling with Alex Palou, and I think Alex Palou got that one done in that corner. Yes, he did. Lucas Auer now the next target to get onto the back of Kenta Yamashita, and Nick Cassidy still holding a watching brief. Now, is he thinking about it being a grown-up driver, or is he just not quick enough to get past?
Yamashita very much went wide there, almost allowed a run on for Lucas Auer. There's got to be a point very soon where a lot of these drivers are probably edging towards the end of their life with their soft tyres.
Well, I think that's the issue we've seen with Kunimoto, that he has found the end of the life, or the end of competitive life of those tyres. Somebody who was also seemingly found the end of the life of the tyres finally is Yuki Sakaguchi, the race leader. His last lap was a 33.1. I think those tyres have had it now.
Sakaguchi has got more than enough of a gap to come in. And
well, there you go. I mean, 45 seconds.
The first pitted driver is, as you see on screen, Yamamoto. The gap is 45 seconds. Sakaguchi will pit and have maybe a 15-second gap over Yamamoto. So that really, for a guy, he started 19th, Sam.
Yep.
19th.
You can see the wear on his right front tyre there very clearly now. That big stripe is pretty obvious. His tyres have cried enough, but he's got such a big gap he might as well stay out and hope it rains. There you can see the lap time drop off quite clearly. As just having a quick look at the Team Impel team kit to see if it still has anywhere on it the famous Calsonic logo. The Calsonic logo may have seen its last race, as the company that owns it has changed its branding, and the equally famous Magneti Marelli branding to just Marelli. We may no longer see Calsonic in racing. Which would be a bit of a shame, actually. Derek London says, let's smash some more Juttons. I was talking to Benson last week, and he may well be listening into this. Hello to the west of England, if you are. Or Monaco.
As you see, the battle again from 4th onwards.
That's a cracking scrap, isn't it?
Kunimoto's doing a great job.
Cassidy, we didn't see it. Cassidy's got Lucas Auer.
There's Harrison Newey going past Lucas Auer there as well.
Yep.
So I wonder if Auer may have had a little bit of an off.
We haven't seen that, but Cassidy is passed.
Auer did drop into the late 1:34s on that last lap. So I wonder if maybe that's coming to the edge. But Cassidy 10th place, he will go into the points when Makino and Kunimoto do eventually pit at this rate.
That's right. You have to remember 3 cars in this race not pitted. Sakaguchi leading the race on the soft tyres. His lap times are beginning to fade a little bit. Makino, his lap times aren't fading. He's actually slightly quicker on track than Sakaguchi at the moment. And of course, looking down the order, it's Kunimoto, who everybody's mugging at the moment.
We're well past 2/3 distance now, coming up to the 3/4 mark of this race. If you are going to go in and change tyres, you can pit up until the penultimate lap.
Yes,
I believe it is.
But I don't think they're going to try that strategy.
No, unlikely whether the soft tyres will last that long.
There's a strange camera angle there on the Honda-powered car.
That is Makino, 2nd place. But you know what? His tyres have actually got quite a lot of life in them as well. Quite a lot of life taken out of them as well, but still setting some reasonably decent times.
Yeah, he's a 10th of a second. Well, as you say that, Sakaguchi was listening in and just did a 32 dead.
Because, you know,
it's just insane. How's he so quick? Right, there you go. Cassidy now battling quite closely with Kenta Yamashita. I don't think he got it done. Alex Palou just ahead of the pair, but here comes Cassidy on Yamashita. He's used up a lot of his overtaking boost, and he's on the slow.
And locks up and goes wide onto the marbles. Harrison Newey, he's a lapped car. Don't worry too much about him. And Lucas Auer just behind Cassidy there, but that was a mistake by Nick Cassidy getting onto the marbles and running wide.
Yeah, but that's going to be annoying for Cassidy, because having Harrison Newey there between him and the car is interesting. Now pit stops. That's Team Impel getting ready. That will be Sakaguchi's soft. Are they soft or mediums? They look like mediums. I thought they were soft.
I think
for a
they'd have to
second.
be mediums because Sekaguchi's been running softs the whole race.
So he's going to come in for those medium tyres. 14 laps on the mediums.
Now let's see how much of a gap he actually does end up having. He's 31.7 seconds ahead of Makino at this time, but 45.7 seconds ahead of Yamamoto in third place. Yamamoto, of course, the leading pitted driver so far.
The forecast rain has yet to arrive.
I think we may have seen it, Sam. I think that little flurry that came earlier on in the race may well have been it.
Yeah, still 14 laps to go. We're out in the mountains in the south of Japan. Anything can happen.
As we've seen in the last couple of days, incredible weather, huge swaths of rain and thunderstorms. That actually got qualifying cancelled on Saturday afternoon. That ran this morning instead. The gap between Sekaguchi and Yamamoto, 45.7 seconds at the end of lap 39. Sekaguchi surely now about to come to the pits. The pit crew are ready for him with a fresh set of medium tyres.
Now watch hopefully we'll see this pit stop in full. The pit stops here in Super Formula, a little bit different to those you might be used to in European series like Formula 1. No tyre warmers in this championship, of course, and very unusual tactics from some of the mechanics. Just wait and see.
We may see some ballet or acrobatics, I think is...
So how long is this pit stop going to take? He's got a lot. It doesn't need to take too long. They're looking very leisurely, aren't they? Fuel going in, bounces across the car. Very nice coordination.
Excellent stop, 13.1 seconds in the pit lane to get tyres changed as Makino goes past. Don't worry about that. Makino himself still needs to stop.
That's not Makino. I don't believe that was Makino, actually. No, it was. You're correct. Yeah. That was Makino. So Makino leads the race.
We can judge then it's around 30 seconds for a pit stop to change tyres, get fuel, and of course negotiate the pit lane itself. As we see Yamamoto third place, and still 10 seconds, 12 seconds behind Sekaguchi, I think, as he exits.
Yeah.
Actually, probably not quite that much, but maybe still 10 seconds.
Still a long way to go. Now let's see what Sekaguchi's pace is going to be like on these cold medium tyres on a circuit that really doesn't want to be, well, we've seen isn't very suitable for the medium.
Now bear in mind with the cold tyres, with no tyre warmers, those first 2 laps out for Sekaguchi, as with everyone else, are going to be very, very, very hazardous. Now this wasn't an issue for all the drivers who pitted earlier on this race because they pitted under the safety cars. We see the wobble there for Sekaguchi as he comes out of that left-hander. But Sekaguchi is going to lose a few seconds for the first couple of laps around as the tyres come up to temperature. And we're seeing Harrison Newey here getting
Cassidy,
taken for Nick Cassidy. Harrison Newey's already lapped, so...
Yeah.
But that is Nick Cassidy retaking Newey after Cassidy had a little error a couple of laps ago. Cassidy back to chasing Yamashita for 9th place.
And he is taking time out of Yamashita at the moment. He's still got a little bit of work to do. Looking at Sekaguchi, the current only other driver on track at the moment on the medium tyres, and I'm guessing they're quite worn, is Sho Suboi, who's been fading through the field consistently since he put on those tyres. However, he's just done a 32.9, the second fastest lap he's done on those tyres. Everybody else in the field is doing, well, at the front of the field anyway, is doing 32-somethings. And I think Sekaguchi ain't going to lose too much time on these tyres, the way the conditions are at the moment.
So Sekaguchi's got 6 seconds over Yamamoto now. A few seconds of that would have been getting the tyres up to temperature in that lap. Now it's up to him to maintain the temperature, maintain the pace over the remaining 12 laps.
Bear in mind, well, the interesting thing is Yamamoto has stopped. So it will be interesting to see if Yamamoto with the faster tyre can make up that gap. Makino has not stopped, so while he's leading the race, he's probably not going to be a great factor in the overall result.
Well, I'm thinking Yamamoto will, if he pits, will probably drop up come out in around the Cassidy Hour Kobayashi kind of area.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yamamoto, he stopped on the first lap of the race, so while he is on the softer, faster tyres, it'll be a question now coming into these last 12 laps, will they still have enough life in them to be able to catch up and really pressurise Sekaguchi? And at this point, I'm not entirely convinced that may be the case.
Kunimoto, of course, also has to stop. We can forgetting Kunimoto, who's holding up the field there. You can see it on your screen, the P1s. It's not LMP1, that is how many pit stops they've made. what tyres they are on. Sakaguchi on the mediums, Kunimoto on the soft, and Makino on the soft. Also needs to come in. Nojiri also on the soft. We haven't really talked about him. He also needs to pit as well.
Now Yamamoto was the third car and shot there. The white car. There's I think it's Nojiri just in between them in the lapped car. Yamamoto champion, Super Formula champion last year, also Super GT champion last year in the car he partnered with Jenson Button of 2009 Formula 1 World Champion. As we go back to Makino leading this race at the moment. It's a temporary lead.
Yeah, it's the real race leader is still Sakaguchi, but not by a huge margin. He's running roughly the same laps as Yamamoto, who's on softer tyres, but older, much older tyres.
Makino, he did start 15th in this race, so if he does manage to score, to come out in around the lower end of the points, okay, it may not necessarily be ideal, but any opportunity to score, starting that low down, sometimes you do try and pull alternative strategies in order to try and get points and really get some score on the board.
Kunimoto's still roughly on the pace. 5th position.
So
pit stop to come though, so he's going to fall way down the order. And all of this is going to bump Nick Cassidy just into the back of the points, I think.
I think he will bring him up to 8th place. He may actually take Kenta Yamashita before Yamashita has an opportunity to stop.
He's right on the tail of him right now. We're not seeing it on the screen, but Yamashita himself is not far off the back of Alex Palou, who's not far off the back of Nirei Fukuzumi, who is chasing down Ishiura perpetually.
Of course, Cassidy lost a little bit of time in this corner. Lost a little bit of time to Kenta Yamashita several laps ago. He had a little bit of an off.
I think he put the outside wheels onto the marbles and it just sucked him off onto the exit curve. He got away with it, but lost a bit of time. And then lost a little bit more time behind Harrison Newey. It's a bit of a shame we're... I was about to say, it's a bit of a shame we're not watching this lot of cars. So there is Nick Cassidy right on the back once more.
So as you see, it's a group of cars. They're starting with Kunimoto.
And well, it's going to be interesting to see how they've been holding station a little bit. Harrison Newey in there sort of slowing down Lucas Hour a bit, though I don't think he really is.
I mean, this is interesting though, because Sam in 5th place, Kunimoto is still not stopped. He needs to do his mandatory stop. The pace clearly isn't there. But at what point are you sticking so rigidly to your strategy?
We were just talking about Harrison Newey, and I was saying there was a bit of a gap between him and Cassidy. Cassidy, he's a lap down. Cassidy had very, very poor drive out of that corner once again, and Newey was right on the tail of him, which was a little bit... There you see it. Yeah, Cassidy's losing a lot of time. He's losing grip and time. There's something up with Cassidy.
Unless is he losing on one of his tires, front tires maybe, wearing significantly now. Again, Cassidy was one of the drivers who stopped on the opening lap of this race.
Well, this could be crucial for the championship. Now look at the way they're beating up on the back of Nick Cassidy. He's suddenly lost a lot of time.
I think it's.
As we take a look at Yamamoto driving around the track.
But I wonder if Cassidy's right front is significantly gone now.
Yeah, he's suddenly just lost a chunk of time and sort of lost traction. There we see now that is the number 5 car of Nirei Fukuzumi battling with Ishiura for 6th position.
And does he? I think he has him.
He's got it.
As you see just behind them, has Pelu got Fukuzumi? I think he... No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. So, my mistake. It's Fukuzumi ahead of Oshira, then Pelu, then Kunimoto, then Cassidy.
Here we go. Bit of a slipstream. Hits the overtaken button. Gets it done.
Oshira didn't really fight too hard.
No, he actually lifted off the overtaking system quite early as well. You can see the red lights, the sort of rain lights, are flashing in tandem with the lights on the roll hoop, so that the driver behind know what the driver in front's up to with the roll hoop as well, with the overtaking system.
So meanwhile, Tadasuke Makino still leading this race. Put in his best lap of the race so far, last lap around, at 1 minute 31.557. That is his fastest lap around.
Well, somebody with inconsistent pace is Nick Cassidy, who's just set his fastest lap of the race. So I'm not quite sure what's going on in that Team Tom's car.
It's been, as I mentioned earlier on, a bit of a struggle this weekend for Team Toms. Cassidy running in 10th place at the moment. Nakajima lost a chunk of time earlier on in the race. So he's down in 14th position.
And that is now Ishiura getting up the inside of
Pelu. I think there's...
they're squabbling.
I think Pelu was trying to go for Ishiura.
Yes.
And it hasn't pulled it off this time around.
Looks to me like Pelu had got it done and Ishiura's coming back at him.
Pelu's all over the back of Ishiura, and I wonder now maybe if Ishira's tyres are beginning to fall away. Again, another driver who pitted on the opening lap of the race. Yamashita is easily keeping up with these guys now, and Yamashita is a driver who's been struggling for quite a while, so I think Ishira's pace...
Look behind Yamashita though, Cassidy's back.
Ishira is down into 1 minute 34, so I think he's actually beginning to struggle very much on these tyres.
I'd love to hear from Nick Cassidy about what was going on that last couple of laps. It was just teasing Lucas Auer.
Lucas Auer himself has actually dropped a couple of seconds behind Cassidy in that battle for the bottom end of the points.
So here you go, the passing manoeuvres are about to start in this group. Dropping back there, Alex Palou slightly from the back of Ishiura. And he looks now to be holding... They're really yo-yoing, and it does strike me as the tyres are beginning to just completely fall apart. Makino still hasn't stopped.
Incredible, absolutely incredible, and still into 1 minute 38s. 1 minute 31.8s.
Makino and Kunimoto, neither of who have stopped yet on those original set of tyres they started on.
And Kunimoto, I mean, his pace is solid. It's in the late 32s, early 31s. As we see, this is Yamashita coming back
onto Palou.
So is Yamashita's tyre? Is he coming back to life, or is Palu's just hit the cliff?
Well, I'm wondering if what's happening is the tyres are sort of dropping off and coming back again. The drivers are maybe saving a bit of temperature and trying to bring them back in.
Yamashita all over the back of Alex Palou, who really seems to have lost pace in the last couple of laps. And thank you, Joe Mugford, for saying go Leigh.
Go where?
I have no idea. I haven't been told. Meanwhile, Cassidy just behind Yamashita, who's just behind Alex Palou. And look at how much time Palu's lost in the last lap or so compared to Ishira. I think his tyres have really hit the cliff. I think Palu's actually pushed so hard earlier on in this race that they've actually just fallen off now.
Well, there's the big fun battles at the top of the screen. It's just off. DSF 45 says, if a car exists, there's an Natasha of it. I think there should be an Natasha on it as well. I think more Natasha paint jobs, this sort of anime-looking paint jobs that you see on quite a few cars in Japanese racing, need to be made mandatory. A big twitch there.
Bit of a wobble there for Kunimoto as Fukushima right on his tail. Can't make the move just yet, but opens the door, gives the opportunity, gives the possibility for Fukushima to make a move as he closes right up to the rear of Kunimoto. 6 laps to go, Sam, and I think Fukushima is going to try again as we see the overtake.
He's on the marbles though. Will he be able to get round to the outside? He had to brake late, didn't he? Big puff of smoke off it. Gets it
and
done.
He makes it done. Well done. Fantastic move.
Yeah, when you get up onto the marbles like that, it's going to be a bit hairy to get it stopped, I think.
That is brave, because you can lose so much traction when your tyres get on those marbles, as we saw with Cassidy earlier on this race. Now, Oshira, 7th place. He's going to be chasing after Kunimoto, who still has yet to pit. I do not understand why Kunimoto his team have not pulled him in yet. This strategy is not working.
We ain't getting any points, is it?
The opportunity, the window to get points, probably left 20 laps ago.
This would only work if there's a sudden dark cloud hanging over the middle of the circuit with an angry face and a lightning bolt coming out.
I think that opportunity is gone.
Yeah, I think it has. I don't think.
I think it's actually it looks quite bright now. We've only got 5 and a bit laps left, so I don't see a situation. And I think Cassidy has.
He's dropped back again. Cassidy's dropped back off the back of Yamashita and back towards Lucas Auer again. There's a very inconsistent pace coming from that Team Tom's car.
As you see, there's Kunimoto going wide. Oshira just behind him. Palo, 8th place. Yamashita, 9th. Cassidy, 10th. Lucas Auer, the back of that group. He is in 12th place. Kamui Kobayashi is somewhere back there as well, in 12th position.
We haven't talked much about Kobayashi.
It's very quiet, and very quiet in the first round as well at Suzuka.
Yeah. Expected a little more to come from him.
Kobayashi's actually just got past Auer.
He has. We didn't see that.
And Auer's pace has dropped off in the last 10 laps or so as well. He began to drifted behind Cassidy. And he's lost several seconds and now lost a position.
Well, so far for the Red Bull branded cars, it's not been a good season. 2 races gone here on Let's Go Racing, watching the 2019 Super Formula Series here from Autopolis.
Like, subscribe and join to help support this channel.
You can have a look in the race description on the YouTube thingy to see what the benefits of joining the channel are. But mostly it's a sense of well-being that you helped bring great racing to the world. A bit like a high-performance, high-octane postman. Well, pit stop's coming.
I think they finally reached us. As I said earlier
That's
on,
the Nakajima Racing
you
crew.
want to spend as few laps as possible on the medium tyre, so pitting with 4 to go.
This is for Makino.
Now that's 1 lap to get in, get the tyres warmed up. He will lose a few seconds as the tyres are still cold. This will probably drop. Now this is interesting because Yamashita's 43 seconds off the lead, and 5th place Fukuzumi is 39 seconds off of Makino. So this may actually work. I think the slow pace of Kunimoto earlier on in the last 10 laps or so may well have fed into Makino's favour. He was looking at a situation, had he pitted 10 laps ago, he probably would have come out 10th, 11th, in around where Cassidy Hour is. But because Kunimoto's pace has held the pack up so much, Makino may actually come out of this 5th or 6th place. And Kunimoto himself also still has to pit as well, because Oshira just behind him in 7th place. They're all running in the 1 minute 34s.
Yeah,
whereas Makino's been in the 1 minute 31s, 1 minute 32s, as we do believe he will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap.
He's definitely coming in. You can see that we've seen the crew on the pit lane.
But I think this has worked out very, very, very well for Makino.
Here he comes. Well, very late pit stop, very slow pit entry to get through. He sort of backed off maybe a bit too much there coming in. It'll be the same performance we saw earlier with mechanic jumping over the nose of the car. Look at the number. There are not many people allowed on the pit lane. Missed his mark slightly. Those tyres look completely finished.
And yes, the medium tyres, but a great job actually on those, what are, as you said, finished tyres effectively. Less acrobatic in this pit crew.
Slightly slow stop, I felt.
14.7, so a couple of seconds shy of what Sakaguchi managed earlier on.
And for less fuel going in as well. So that wasn't a great stop. He's just
no, and I think that's actually probably cost him a few more positions really than
Kunimoto. We don't see it. There he is. Yeah, Kunimoto just headed into the pit as well. I saw his crew out, and then he saw the car coming as well. So this will reshuffle the field. And Cassidy, who's after those points, right on the tail of Alex Blue and Kenta Yamashita once again. But he's got Kumi Kobayashi to worry about, who also has Kunimoto back there, who has now stopped.
And there you see the pit stop for Kunimoto on screen there now. This is Makino really struggling. Look how much he's struggling as the tyres, medium tyres,
this is a battle for the lead
cold.
now.
It's a Sakaguchi just behind.
Yeah.
Where's it Yamamoto?
No, it's Sakaguchi. It's Sakaguchi. It's Sakaguchi, I think. No, I think that is Yamamoto. You're right. Yeah, that's Yamamoto.
Yeah, Sakaguchi.
Yeah, Sakaguchi's gone. That's Yamamoto, the number 5 car. And he is battling hard with Makino.
So Fukuzumi, actually, yeah. So that is, if that's Fukuzumi, so we'll see as the timing screen is actually updating itself at the moment. Sakaguchi leading this race.
No, it's Fukuzumi, as you say. Yeah, that is. We just got a...
So yeah, we pretty much got the prediction right. He's probably come out in around 5th, 6th place. Now we can see Makino's just got his tyres up to temperature and he's beginning to stretch his legs slightly. See Yamamoto 2nd place there. He's got just under 3 seconds ahead of Oshima, who's driven a quiet but very, very good race today actually, Oshima. 3rd place. Makino 4th place. So yes, it has worked out quite well for Tadasuke Makino, who, let's not forget, started 15th place in this race. He's come out 4th, just ahead of Fukuzumi. Ashura 6th, Pelu 7th. Kenta Yamashita is in 8th place. Cassidy in 9th place.
With 2 laps to go here on Let's Go Racing in the second round of the 2019 Super Formula Championship, the battle for the final points is pretty hot.
Well, this is actually one of the things I was just about to reference. Makino, had he pitted maybe 10 laps earlier, that would have brought Cassidy into the points. But because the field was actually held up to such a degree, he's come out in 4th place, and it keeps Cassidy, the points leader, out of the points at the moment. Makino, of course, has a point on board. He didn't finish in race 1 in Suzuka, but he did score pole position, so he got a point for that.
But it appears Fukuzumi has got a little Yano Trulli style trainer cars behind him, including Ishihara, Palu, Kenta Yamashita, Nick Cassidy, and I think Kamui Kobayashi has latched onto the back of that. Yes, he has. And I think we're going to see some positions change in this little scrap. Here it is. That is Cassidy trying to get up the inside there of
Yamashita.
That was Yamashita, wasn't it?
Yamashita's also battling hard to try and pass Ashira, because I think Pelu's just got past Ashira to take 6th place. Ashira is struggling now.
Yeah, that's exactly the
1 minute 35.
There's Kobayashi just behind.
Ashira's into 1 minute 35, Sam. His pace has just dropped off completely in this late stage. 2 laps to go. Yamashita, they're chasing Ashira for 7th place, and I think he's going to get it done, and he's going to make it easy. Such is the lack of pace Ashira has at this point in the race. Cassidy needs to make his move now. Because just behind him is Kamui Kobayashi.
That's what I'm saying. Kobayashi is setting up for Cassidy, but Cassidy now on Ishihara, trying to go around the outside. Ishihara doing textbook defending there. But Cassidy won't stay behind long, but he needs to be careful because Kamui Kobayashi, we know he can overtake, well, pretty much anywhere.
And that's Sakaguchi leading the race, but we really need to go back to this incredible battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th and 10th place.
Yeah. Very nice to look at that car, but
6.5 seconds ahead of reigning champion Yamamoto.
I mean, he has driven brilliantly. But
he has. I mean, he started as I've said a few times in this race, he started 19th.
Gained 15 positions from the start, as has actually Naoki Yamamoto, who's in 2nd.
Now we're starting the final lap of the race. See Yamamoto crossing the line, 5 seconds adrift of the lead.
So we're not seeing it, but the timing loops are saying that Cassidy has got Ishihara done.
So has Yamashita.
And he's on the back of Yamashita. That is what the timing loops are telling us.
We would love to be seeing it. Unfortunately, the TV director can't hear us at the moment as we watch. Bill Yozraart asks, did he missed the early part of the race? Did Markelov trigger the safety car? Markelov actually crashed heavily in qualifying, didn't take the start. He missed the first 4 laps, and when he did actually come out of the pits, he only made it about 50 metres before pulling off. As we suspect it was either a suspension issue or maybe the steering wasn't correctly attached, so he pulled off straight away and effectively extended the safety car. But that was then. We were still watching Sakaguchi leading around in his final lap with absolutely no one around him.
No, but there is a hell of a battle going on for 7th position. At least that's what the timing screen is telling me. Alex Palou, I think, has got a gap out to 7th from Yamashita slightly. He's got over 1.5 seconds now on the timing loops. Cassidy on the back of
Cassidy is in the points
Yamashita.
now. Cassidy is in the points now. He has taken 8th place.
But Kobayashi and Lukasawa are both close behind Ishihara as well, and they could be not far behind Cassidy.
As we see the checkered flag, Sakaguchi taking his first win of the 2019 Super Formula Championship.
Wins on the medium tyres for Toyota Engine. Team Impel takes that victory. Yamamoto, 2nd position for Team Dandelion. Kazuya Oshima, Team Le Mans. 4th position is likely to be Makino.
Makino crosses the line now. Fukuzumi, a very good 5th place for Fukuzumi.
But 6th, 7th and 8th, that's the battle we want to watch. There is 6th position, there is 7th position, 8th is Cassidy. A little bit more of a gap than I thought there was, actually.
So Ashira really... Oh, Cassidy slowing significant... Oh, he's just crossed the line.
Well done.
Well, yes, Cassidy
That's
took a point.
Hold, yeah.
Yes, it will. Cassidy taking a point. Sakaguchi, race winner in, as you said, the Team Impel car. A fantastic drive from Yui Sakaguchi.
You've been getting tips from Bjorn Wertheim.
Oh gosh.
Who has shaved off the beard again?
Oh, has he? But I'm sort of sure people remind him of that infamous Monaco moment. But that was then. This is now.
Well, that was quite an unpredictable race, wasn't it? I mean, Sakaguchi from basically nowhere dominated the race somehow.
it was a fantastic job. The manner in which he was able to take care of those tires, those soft tires for I can't remember actually how long. I think it was 40 laps, 44 laps or something like that. Actually, it's probably longer than that, wasn't it? No, it was. Sorry, it was about 44 laps. And actually still maintain a very, very good pace. Thanks to Joe Quirk, who has just subscribed. He says, cheers again for the coverage today, guys. Keep up the great work. Don't worry, we love bringing you this Super Formula Championship, and will do for the rest of the 2019 season and hopefully beyond.
I've really enjoyed this race, actually, because I spent half the race trying to work out
What was going on?
how these strategies were going to play out, because it was just baffling.
I mean, as we mentioned, Kunimoto's strategy, I did struggle with that. The pace wasn't there. He was holding up the field and pitted quite close to the end, and it's pretty much dropped him down to fourth place for the pole. Oh, sorry, he's number 4. It dropped him down actually to 16th place. For starting on pole, that is an awful result. As you see, Sakaguchi slowing right down. He's got the marbles on the tires, and he's celebrating this moment as he comes up to the grid. They're going to line up on the grid for all the photographers. And absolutely delighted. It's similar to Formula 1. The top 3 will line up. They'll park their cars on the grid. As you see Sakaguchi pulling into the number 1 slot. And doesn't run over the marshal on the grid, which is always a benefit.
Well, there we have it.
And it's team.
Well, here's a question. That's an RJ O'Connell question there from James Guthrie from Super GT World, who also writes about Super Formula, who was asking how long has it been since Team Impul won a Super Formula race? Not that long, I don't think, but I can't remember. You've got the cards.
It's a reference that most people will probably not understand.
No. Well, we're going to get the interviews.
Sakaguchi's not exactly jumping for joy.
He should be. Maybe he's knackered.
But thumbs up there with Team Boss. And that was a fantastic drive there.
It was. I mean, he just dominated.
And he looks calm, he looks serene, and I think he was showing let's not forget, he was showing very, very, very good pace in Suzuka as well when he had the issue with the gears following his pit stop. Sakaguchi is very much a championship contender this year.
Well, I think he absolutely is, but somebody who is also keeping himself in the fight is Nick Cassidy. Other drivers to watch, Alex Palou, I told you he was going to be quick here. 6th position. He is definitely going to be in with a shout for this title, I think, by the end of the year. I know we're only 2 races in. We'll be watching all of the races live with you here on Let's Go Racing. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the podium ceremonies here at Autopolis, or as Google Translate will tell you, Autopolis.
Of course, there's Sakaguchi, who's a former All-Japan Formula 3 champion. He's took a 4th place at the Macau Grand Prix in 2011. So he is a driver of some talent. 31 years old, so very much in the prime of his career, racing in Super GT as well.
Bit of a gap till the next time we'll be joining you here for Super Formula. Next race is at Sportsland Sugo. That is one absolutely not to miss, because Sugo's always a little bit bonkers. That's on the 23rd of June. Here on Let's Go Racing, followed by Fuji Speedway in July. That's 14th of July. And then the series goes to Motegi on the 18th of August. Okayama on the 29th of September. And Suzuka rounds out the season on the 27th of October as Mr. Chio there interviews the race winner in Japan. He says thank you.
16番手からスタートして、 ミディアムタイヤ、ごめんなさい、ソフトタイヤでスタートで、セーフティーカーが入ってギャップがギュッと詰まった時に、自分たちが思った作戦が狂ったんじゃないかと思うけど、そこからギャップを広げて、どんな気持ちであれだけプッシュしたのか。
I think very much took it in his stride. If this had been a pole to win, then you might kind of understand it. But I mean, that was a fantastic drive to go from effectively the back of the grid to win. Team Impul last won the finale last year with Sakaguchi.
Well, there you go.
At Portland Sugo. And of course, the actual final round was cancelled because of typhoon.
What was the typhoon called?
Lan.
There you go. I thought it said Len. It's like the idea of something that's called Len. So we need to get Chio on Let's Go Racing at some point, don't we?
I tell a lie. Actually, the last race was actually Okayama last year. That's Sakaguchi also won for Team Impul, but you know, he's clearly a race winner. He's clearly a guy who can string results together. But whether he but lost out on a lot of points, as I said at the first round. There's still opportunities there, and there's only 7 rounds in this championship, Sam. You can't really afford to have one bad round.
No, but it is so unpredictable, as Hoshino-san. It seems strange seeing him wearing Toyota logos, doesn't it? But Hoshino-san, they're just saying they won the race and he's very happy. We'll bring you proper info and updates from what actually these people are saying on the Let's Go Racing tweets, Twitter feeds. As we go, which is there's also if you're a Let's Go Racing member, you've got access to a special little group for the Twitter feed, so we talk a little bit more to you and give you a bit more information. If you follow @Go Racing Tweets on Twitter, obviously, you'll find us on there. But here's the race result overall: Yuhi Sakaguchi wins in 1 hour and 30 minutes from Naoki Yamamoto, Kazuya Oshima Makino, Fukuzumi in 5th, Alex Palou in 6th position, Kenta Yamashita 7th, Nick Cassidy getting the last of those points in 8th position, Hiroko Ishiura going to be disappointed in 9th, and Kamui Kobayashi down in 10th. If he pushed a little bit harder, look at the gaps, he could have done it, couldn't he?
And it's a shame for Ishiura, who was running 5th place up until the last five or six laps, and then the tyres just completely fell away and dropped out of the points. He lost about 10 seconds or so, so unfortunate for him. As he said, Kamui Kobayashi 10th place. Not the best of days, not the best of weekends really for Kobayashi. He started 8th place, so to take no points, I think he'll be quite disappointed with that. Let's see, 11th place, Lucas Sauer coming 11th. So Shoeboy started 2nd, comes home 12th in a medium tyre strategy that just really didn't make a huge amount of sense. Kazuki Nakajima coming home 13th, and not the best of days for Team Toms.
Right, it's started to rain now. Just as they're getting ready to assemble the podium. I think this is one of those tracks that hasn't actually got a permanent podium, so they have to sort of assemble it on the side of the track, or there's a big pink Marshall thing. Don't know what that's about. There's a bin lorry as well. Like a good bin lorry, me.
Is the podium going to be on the bin lorry?
I don't know, I mean...
Because, I mean, that wouldn't be too different from what they used to do in Formula 1 in the 70s. We just get like a random back of a painter's truck or something like that, and kind of wheel James Hunt around on the back of it. Or that just could have been,
I think that's just a Friday night in South London, wasn't it? No, the bin lorry, I like it when bin lorries turn up on time, but there you go. They have to go and assemble the podium, and that will involve the big pink thing. I don't know where the drivers have gone. We can see the cars and the marshals sweeping up the track. I think might be another race this afternoon for TCR, isn't there?
I think Japanese Formula 3 also follows this.
Ah, okay.
As they run their 2nd race of the weekend an hour or two or so after Super Formula, if I remember correctly.
And we're just waiting to get to the feed from the podium. I would ask you for your driver of the race, Leigh, but it seems a bit of a stupid question, frankly.
Sakaguchi?
Yeah, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
I'd also add Internet Mix Makino.
Nah, just this bloke here. There you go, with his single flagging technique.
Makino, who started 15th and ran a very, very good pace as well. Came home.
He came home in 4th. But here's a little figure for you. Sakaguchi on the top step, Yamamoto there on the 2nd step. Both made 15 places from their starting positions. So came from the back to win. There's Oshima. He only made 8. That's why he's third. And Hoshino-san taking the top step of the podium. Now just looking at the branding on both Hoshino and Sekiguchi, and there appears to be no sign of that famous Calsonic logo.
The Japanese national anthem for the race winner, Yahi Sekiguchi.
Well, that's exactly how Sekiguchi wanted to welcome in the start of the Reiwa era after the end of the Heisei period.
Of course, if you have any questions about the race or about the Super Formula Championship, do contact Go Racing Tweets. Send your questions, your comments, your thoughts, and we'll try and get through all of them as much as we can.
I remember these trophies. These are the funny wobbly rice bowl trophies, aren't they? With with the weird little wobbly things in the top and that whatever that is hanging out the side like a little handkerchief.
Impressive.
Yeah. He doesn't get a gold top one, you see.
It's just like this gold.
That's a funny way to hold a podium. It's a funny way to hold a trophy, isn't it? It's sort of cuddling it.
Oh, it has got handles.
Yeah, I mean that's what they're for. I mean, you use the handles. You don't sort of cuddle a trophy unless you really like it. He's got a bronze top one. I wonder what the semi-skim one looks like. He's really having trophy handling difficulties. Do you think he's hurt his left arm? He's not using his left arm very much, is he?
It's a slightly less impressive team's trophy.
Oh, yeah, I'd be very disappointed by that one. Yeah, quite right too. Yeah, that is the. Yeah, that's from the Arrive and Drive kart track.
It's almost like the kind of little thing they get for the Ashes.
That is that. Just look at the size comparison going on there. Right, who's going to get the menu? They're getting a menu. What's on the menu? Some sausages.
I think I saw some ketchup or like tomato paste.
So, yeah, some What on earth do they win there? Literally, they've won the menu from the restaurant.
Yeah, it's a very good restaurant.
It doesn't look very good restaurant, to be honest. It looks a bit fast foody. I mean, there's brilliant food in that part of Japan.
I can't really tell. I haven't been there. So, as we see the top 3
and some other people,
and the
some sponsors and official people. Let's see if
how heavy is that?
I don't know, but I'm wondering if Yamamoto has hurt his left arm because he's really not using it to lift the trophy.
And a question from Ricardo Alcides: how do they score the championship points in Super Formula? Top 8 score. It's like the old Formula 1 championship points for 10 for a win, then 8 for second, 6 for third, then it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you also get 1 point for pole position.
We'll bring you those scores on the board shortly after Hoshino raises his tiny trophy. Or is it just far away?
Well, it is in Japan, so it's quite far away, but not so far away it should be that small.
That would mean the winner's trophy is massive. Lots of people taking photos, of course. They need those telephoto lenses to see the team's trophy. It's the smallest trophy I've seen in a long time. Sekiguchi looks almost more relieved. Okay, we're going to get more interviews from the podium. Thank you to Sekiguchi. Right. So
Sam, your thoughts on that race, what we saw today?
I want to know how he did it. I genuinely, it's like, you know, when you saw like Paul Daniels or whoever doing magic tricks, you know, I want to see.
No, I came from Ireland.
Magic is a form of witchcraft that was used for entertainment. Sakaguchi did do some witchcraft really to be that much quicker during the race. I genuinely don't understand how he was so much faster. He just drove fantastically. It wasn't the fuel. He had the same tyres. He just made it work in a brilliant, brilliant way. Well, here we're about to get to the section you've all been waiting, they've been waiting for. Well, second position, Yamamoto bought his own bottle of whatever it is, but
I'm not sure. You know what? It's almost like as if he's strained like a shoulder blade or something like that.
He's definitely not using his left hand very much. Well, here come the bottles. Now, in case you're wondering what these bottles are, I've been looking into it. This is sparkling sake, and if you see it's got a special super formula label on it. It's from a company called Ninki. But I hear some of the drivers have said they prefer something French and bubbly. So I think there might be a little bit of a look for the champagne. Look, it's interesting to see.
Exactly the most enthusiastic of them.
No, I'd quite like to try some of this Ninki sparkling Japanese. I've never tried sparkling sake, actually, mainly because I've never won a race in Japan or indeed anywhere. But I would quite like to try some of this Ninki sparkling sake. And it'd be very interesting to see. We should try that at the end of one of these races, actually.
Well, interesting thing, though, as I mentioned about making the tyres last to the end of the race. Obviously, he was heavily fueled for that, so that's an additional point. As we see now, the race highlights.
Here we go. There were some cars on a track that weren't very close to each other.
The start of the race, initially, poleman Kunimoto got a good start. Harrison Nui and Nohiri were left on the grid.
But they didn't do another race start. That was just a replay of what you've just seen from a different angle. And two cars still left on the grid. I bet Harrison Nui wishes he could replay the start and actually start this time. And the cars all went into the first corner with some computer game style guitar music.
Now, there are a lot of pit stops at the end of the opening lap as Dan Tinktum had an off, bashed his car into the barrier, breaking what we think was the left rear suspension, beaching him on the edge of the track. Kunimoto stayed out. It was a strategy that did not work for him in the end. As here we see, now this is Artem Markelov.
And that was his entire race.
So he didn't take the start because he crashed heavily this morning. And that was it. So something has clearly gone wrong with the...
You can see the way he was moving his steering wheel, actually, that he was steering and the wheels weren't. So that wasn't the nut behind the steering wheel, or literally it was. Either way, it didn't work. There was some good racing after that, though. As Nick Cassidy battled with some people.
As Sakaguchi battling early on with Kunimoto, and this really was the move that made the race. Because Kunimoto was losing pace, he was going quite slowly, he needed to escape, and he did so, as we also see...
That's one of the Nakajima racing cars, with Makino, I believe. Battling with Ishihara, the reigning champion, Naoki Yamamoto, stating his intent for the next season. I think Yamamoto is going to be a very strong prospect for 2019. He's going to be a title contender, that's clear. Who else will be in the fight? Well, this man's made a real statement of intent as well. Car 19, making a very late pit stop. Sakaguchi just dominated the race, really.
And I do believe, as we see, this was the pit stop late on for Makino. He pitted from first, made a long stint, came out in fourth place as Sakaguchi came back around to take the lead, ahead of Yamamoto and Oshima, and a checkered flag coming out. Sakaguchi taking the win. Yamamoto second also in Suzuka, so I think Yamamoto leads the championship standings now with 16 points, and then Oshima coming home in third place. As we see, yes, Yamamoto leads championship 16 points, then Nick Cassidy with 11, Sakaguchi taking 10 points for his win, Yamashita on 8, then Oshima, Makino on 6, Nohiri 5th place. 5 points in 7th place, then Fukuzumi, Sho Suboi, and Yuji Kunimoto all on 4 points. And Alex Pelu 3, he came home on the points today. Lucas Auer with 2, and then Dan Tinktum with 1.
Wow, and he's got a lot to do. The thing about Dan Tinktum getting those points, we saw it was a Formula 3 car.
Yes, I saw that must be that is the Formula 3 cars coming out for their race soon enough, I think. Then. Well,
we might be able to. We'll stick with it. We'll see what they do. We might actually be able to bring you the. No, we won't. So, it's quite an interesting It's quite an interesting turnout. This championship is developing into something really exciting. Sportsland Sugo next up in just over a month's time, 23rd of June here on Let's Go Racing. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Most of the fans, though, they're heading off and thinking about that next race as well. It's been a great race to have you here on Let's Go Racing. And, well, we've just seen a driving lesson from Yuhi Sakaguchi and Team Impel.
As on Twitter, Steve Jackson saying, pretty sure Sakaguchi enjoyed some McLaren or Mercedes F1 witchcraft for that win. He was an entirely different level today, and that's something I really have to agree. Not necessarily strictly about the witchcraft, because that doesn't really, well, actually, possibly in racing, you never know.
Well, it's been great to have you along. So thanks for joining us here on Let's Go Racing. My name's Sam Collins, and you've been great.
My name's Leo Gorman, and you've been wonderful.
Thanks very much. Join us at Sportsland Sugo.